Welcome to Brain Health Week Speaker Series. Today we are honored and privileged to be with Jordan Ray. She is the CEO and founder of Limitless Medical Logs. Jordan was on a journey to be a D1 athlete, and she put in over 3,600 hours. Is that right?
36,000 hours.
I'm sorry, 36,000 hours from the ages of 4 through 17 on her way to become a D1 athlete. And she played softball all over the country. Her parents supported her 110%. And Jordan had that goal to be a D1 softball college athlete, and when she was 17, her world changed. And Jordan lost a year of her life because of that, and she was able to take that very large challenge, to say the least, that happened, and turn it into something very positive and transformative. She was able to then start her own company called Limitless Medical Logs, and here she is today, 5 years later, and she's 22 years old and the founder of Limitless Medical Logs, which is helping so many people in our country. So, Jordan, tell me about what got you started on your path to become a D1 softball athlete?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. So what started out was my mom played, and she played up until, I guess, high school. She played rec. She didn't play the level I did, but she played, and I was 3-4 years old, and she's like, let's put her in softball. So they did that, and once I stepped onto that ball field, I fell in love with the sport, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do for as long as I could.
You loved it. It was inside. I mean, it was your passion.
It was everything.
Really.
It was my identity, because you start at such a young age and it just becomes you. So by 8 years old, that's when I started travel ball. And I actually asked my parents this. I'm like, when did you know I really loved this sport? And my mom said to me, when you asked us at 8 years old to put you in travel ball.
Really?
And that's where the true commitment comes into it, because from 4 to 8, you're doing rec ball. You have practice here and there, a game, maybe 1 or 2 per week. But travel ball, that is where you're practicing every other day, and you're traveling throughout the United States. So that started when I was 8.
And you're having to juggle your school schedule and all of that too, and your parents have to juggle their work schedule.
Right.
And so that started when you were 8. And what lessons do you feel like you learned from those years of playing softball and being on a team and learning, working with your parents to juggle your schedules and achieve what you were able to achieve? What lessons do you feel you learned from your sports?
The obvious one is time management. That was a big one. But more of the leadership and the teamwork that was needed, and you learn that at such a young age. And I always say my confidence was built and molded from being on the field. And it took me a while to realize this, but you play for the person next to you. I played third base. I played for my shortstop. She played for me, because we played for each other. So meaning it's not just me on the field.
Right.
You play for the person next to you.
To make it their job easier and smoother, and to make them look good too.
Right. And just
because
the
they're
teamwork.
part of your team.
Yeah, the teamwork aspect is really the biggest thing. And the game of softball is truly a game of failure. So having the team molded where everybody works for each other, you're going to succeed.
That's a great lesson for, business too in later years, and, for working as part of a team in college on projects, and then, in your career.
Yeah, it's crazy how, I say now that the 13 years that I had playing ball, that is where the foundation was built for my unexpected future. So it was just crazy that all this happened.
that's a good way to express it, a very good way to express it. And none of us ever know, even at best, what the future holds. So we have to be ready. It's good to be ready and flexible. So can you tell us what did happen to you when you were 17?
So it was April 13, 2015, my junior year. I just got back from a few colleges. I did a tour all in Florida and Georgia, and we come back, and then a week later, April 13th, I was running for a routine play at third base, and then I just blacked out. Everything went dark, but I remember I popped my eyes open, I popped up, and I had the first ever pounding migraine, extreme neck and back pain. But the craziest part of it all was I had no clue who these people were next to me. My teammates,
weird.
my coaches, who I've known for years. So
Kyary.
that led to a diagnosis of Chiari Malformation, which is a serious neurological disorder where my cerebellum extends into my spinal canal. But the craziest thing about the diagnosis is I was born with it. And I never had one symptom. For all those 13 years of playing such a high-level sport and never having one symptom. So that was the craziest thing. But I always say I'm grateful that it happened on the softball field. The blackout could have happened anywhere else. Driving, with people in the car, people around me. So
True. And that you did have those 13 years to play at such a high level. What a great positive attitude you have. And is that something that you think you've learned from playing sports, or how did you develop that attitude? Because some people might be devastated. Oh, I can't pursue my dream. Woe is me, and they might really have a difficult time dealing with it. So, how were you able to, to come up with this idea of, well, I'm going to do something. I'm going to start a company that will help other people. How did you?
Well, I mean, it was devastating. There was a point where I was depressed, and I didn't understand because I was only 17.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's another, in a way, a lesson, because I had adversity from when I first stepped onto the ball field for softball. When I turned 12, that's where I got a really bad injury where I needed surgery. And then 14, it was the same thing. So every single season or every year, I was either in a boot or a cast from a broken bone, a torn ligament. So it was bouncing back to what happened. It doesn't matter what, and I always say, because I go back to softball for this, it doesn't matter what happened the last play. It matters what you do with the next play.
Right.
That matters
Such
most.
A great lesson.
So understanding that and that mindset, that's where I was able to switch on to softball, my health, and the company.
So from playing sports, I mean, most of the young athletes, student athletes, I have some in my family, they've all had injuries and they've had to go through things. And so that helps prepare you for, well, yeah, you might have to take a break, and you're going to have to work to get better, or work to change something.
Definitely.
Yeah. So dealing with adversity, you feel, is a big facet of being an athletic.
Oh yeah, and if you don't, I mean, you're not going to expect something bad to happen. I never did. But I always say that softball made it easier for me to handle it and be stronger, and especially my body too.
The character development, the lessons that you learned.
Definitely, and even the fitness side of it, because when I had the surgery, most people were in the hospital, the ICU for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I was in there for 4 days.
Fabulous.
And I got out of there.
That is fantastic.
The nurse said to me, the only reason this was so fast is because you were an athlete and you were in such
great shape. Exactly. And it's a lesson to all of us. Like, the better we keep ourselves, the more fit we keep ourselves. When something happens, the quicker we'll recover.
Right.
Yeah. That's very interesting. That's quite a difference. So tell us, what is Limitless Logs, Limitless Medical Logs?
Sure. So Limitless Medical Logs, they are physical, all-in-one medical logs where you can accurately track your pain, your symptoms, and your questions prior to your doctor's appointment. So you can see right now I have the human body chart open, and where the diary, this is for a whole week. The log is for a whole year, and then the app will obviously be longer because of the technology side. You can use it whenever. And the app will be free, and it does all of the things that you can do in here, but the technology side, you add a caregiver is the difference with the app. You can share between your community of doctors, so it's not, I told Dr. A this, Dr. A told me that,
Right.
but it's a game of telephone between if you have 5 doctors or you have 2.
Yeah.
So that the whole point of this is to eliminate the guessing game
Yeah.
between the patient, caregiver, and physician.
Right. Well, that will certainly save a lot of time, that part in the app. And it's HIPAA control. The patient controls whether, they would like this doctor to talk to that doctor, or who gets the information. That's correct, right? It's the patient's choice.
Right. It's the patient is using it at their own risk. They
Right.
have the choice to say, hey, doctor, this is what's going on with me, or they can hold it back.
I see.
So that is where it's HIPAA controlled, where
Right.
it's the patient's taking the risk on it.
I see. I get it. Yeah. Well, if you want to get healthy, then it's good to trust your medical team
Yeah.
and have the doctors talk to each other.
Yeah.
And the doctors, staffs right now spend so much time trying to get in touch with other doctors to get the information. So
Right.
I'm sure that will save them a lot of time.
And make everything more efficient as well. With the communication, that's just all of it. It's improved the communication. I mean, I saw the need for this when my mom had cancer when I
Right.
was 16, so a year before my blackout. And
Yeah.
so I was a caregiver at that point, helping my dad. And she was going to all of her doctor's appointments, and she just would, she was so like stressed as it is when you get a
Yeah.
cancer diagnosis, and then
Right.
on top of it, trying to organize yourself
Yeah,
and be prepared for
overwhelming.
these appointments.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And it's hard to remember, what you felt like a month ago or 3 weeks ago or
Even
even last
yesterday.
week or yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things, because I got one of your medical logs, I bought one on your website,
yeah.
yes. So one of the things I like about it so much is you have a number of descriptions of pain.
Right.
And I find that so helpful, because if you have pain, if you have something wrong with you and you go and the doctor says, well, what kind of pain is it? How do you describe it? And you have, whether it's, aching or stabbing or burning or tingling, I don't know how many different descriptions, but I found that
Right.
very helpful.
Yeah, and to add on, this is my personal log. So you're seeing I still am dealing with all the symptoms from the Kyary. So extreme migraines, neck pain, back pain. I lose feeling in my hands, legs, and fingers. So as you can see, I have tingling. It starts from my neck and it goes all the way down.
Oh, those are the tingling.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
was able to mark it, and this is where I have neck and back and lower back pain.
Right.
I was able to mark it, give this to my neurosurgeon. He took a
Yes.
second to look at it, put it down, and he was able to start doing all the pins. So, I mean, how
Fantastic.
quick that was.
Yeah, so time saving.
Right.
And so helpful for the MDs. They must love it.
They do.
Yeah.
Some of them, their jaw drops. They're just like, that is so incredible. It's so needed for not just the patient,
Right.
the physicians
Yes.
and the pharmacists, and everybody is affected by how the patient communicates.
Exactly. And I'm sure it helps, in the hospitals and hospitalized patients. It helps with with patient satisfaction. You're actually working with, I know, a large hospital right now, at least one that I know of. I know you have another one out that's being looked at as well. So that seems like it will be a great use for Limitless Medical Logs, for the patients to be able to record all their symptoms and then share them.
Most definitely, because there's many programs inside of a hospital, but the biggest thing that always stood out to me is when you go in and then you leave a discharge program.
Right.
They kind of just send you on your way.
That's a big problem.
So putting this in with the package, because the case managers or social work team, they check up and
Right.
schedule certain appointments. So
Yeah.
having something like this or the app, I mean,
Right.
you're giving them a tool and a resource.
Yes, to
Well,
stay healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, to stay healthy. And it's fantastic. It's really fantastic because they can record the dates in there too for their next doctor's appointments.
Yeah,
right.
definitely. Yeah,
as well as how they feel every day, their level of pain, their symptoms, even how they sleep.
Right, definitely, and you can do that in there. There's different charts, but the app is the biggest thing with the app is the reminders that you'll have for the medications, for the upcoming appointments, physical therapy. I go to physical therapy every week, and I have to always check my calendar. Did I schedule? What time is it? When is it? So having that just at your fingertips, or even at your fingertips here on the log, is just incredible to take full control of your health.
Right. Now, how long has Limitless Medical Logs been in business now?
A year and 4 months, 5 months.
I cannot believe how much you've been able to achieve just in that short time.
Thank you.
It's really, remarkable, and so many people know about you, and it just, it seems like it's something that's been needed, and it's a good time. It's the right time. You're the right person at the right time.
Definitely, and having people understand the need for it and really see it, that's kind of been the biggest thing, because I do keynote speeches as well, and really being able to share my story and get that out there, so that's been the big, and all the press that I've done.
Yeah, exactly, and it's great for young entrepreneurs and people that have had to make shifts in their pivots in their life too, and how to deal with it.
Definitely.
And let's see, do you still work in sports at all, or what's your connection with softball these days?
I coached last year and the year before. I took a break for a few months, and then I'm going to hopefully start back up in a few months. I needed to get the app going and the company truly to where it needs to be. But yeah, I do coach, and I love doing it because it's not just on the field coaching the girls need. They really need the off the field, and I want to be the type of coach that I never had. So I want to be able to help them more off the field with all of my experience. I mean, in the past 5 years, I've been through more than most will in their lifetime. So being able to share my experience as an athlete, a patient, and a CEO has been really cool.
That's fantastic. So when you say help them off the field, you mean help them with their time management, dealing with whatever they're going through, and
dealing with whatever
school, and
I mean, school, no, not like schoolwork stuff,
but juggling everything.
And more of the off the field with understanding that you can't take anything for granted. It took me the blackout to realize that.
That's a good point.
It was actually weird that...
That's important.
Yeah, it took me so long to realize that, but I lost everything by the time I did. So showing these girls you can't do that.
Right.
Take in every second that you get to step on that ball field, because there's people that don't have a choice.
And appreciate it, exactly.
Right.
And it's not that second nature when you achieve a level of success at a very young age in sport.
Yeah, and that too, and to motivate them to kind of never give up. And if you set your mind to something, you will achieve it. It doesn't matter if you're a female, a male, if you're 17, 20, or 45.
Yeah, right, or even older.
Yeah, even older.
That's great. And what goals do you have for your Limitless Medical Logs, your company?
For this year, launch the app, start the YouTube channel, hopefully have a book out. I'm writing a book right now, but I've kind of I haven't spent too much time on it. I keep forgetting. But the main goal
probably get distracted by a few other things that you're doing. What is it about, the book?
My story and the things that I was just telling you, taking things for granted, using
very nice.
Softball as a foundation. But it's not just that I had softball and I lost it. I'm still doing everything I can to keep, all the meetings I have, I still have that softball player mentality when I go into a meeting, because I love an adrenaline rush, so I think of every single meeting like that. But the end goal is to have the logs or the app in the hands of every single person battling an illness or even an athlete, just wanting to take full control of their health.
Yeah, speak a little more about how going into a meeting is like being on the softball field. Because I remember we spoke about this once before, and I was very struck about what you said. Because being a young CEO and dealing with, many more older, more experienced people.
Right.
So you said it's like a game, and so you played third base, right? So how does it relate to softball? How does your experience?
It really does, because first of all, my age, I'm a young female CEO. When I walk into a hospital or anywhere, people think, oh great, what's this kid gonna sell me? If they haven't heard of me or heard of the product. So as in sales, there's already a barrier. Now, because of my age and I'm a female, there's another one that I have to get over. So I use that as, in a way, adversity that I need to get over that barrier built. And for me, when I played softball, I loved when I'd get either like a line drive at me and I had to react very fast. So knowing if I get into these appointments, is it going to be like a line drive? Is it going to be a little bunt? Is it going to be, and a bunt is where they put the ball down right by them.
Right.
Do I have to react fast? The biggest thing with softball is knowing ahead of time every single play. Thinking ahead.
Able to read.
Right. So every meeting, I always
on.
think ahead and know ahead of time if they say this, if they don't say this, you know. So that's how I use softball still in the work field.
So interesting. Yeah. And what great experience, too. I'm sure it's able to do
Keeps it fun.
what you've
It keeps
done.
it interesting.
Yeah. Do you have any words of wisdom for young people who love playing sports, young women in particular?
I'm going to stick with the don't take anything for granted. That was my biggest regret. I would just, show up every day, do what I thought I would continue on and play in college. And, seeing people I played with go to college and be able to have that opportunity was really hard for me, making that adjustment. So understanding what you have, because if I didn't have my parents giving me the opportunity, I wouldn't be where I am today. So understanding that, but like I said, it took me all of those years to realize that.
Yeah. And, even if you do play sports in college and you love it, there's only a very small percentage of people that go on to play, professional sports if that's where you're going. So it's great to have, a plan B. It's important to have a plan B. And to, like you have, realize how all the skills you've learned from sports help you with your plan B, give you a bump ahead of most other of your peers that haven't learned those lessons. For doing something else like that.
Yeah, because if you were to ask me, like, 5 years ago what I wanted to do, I wouldn't tell you, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's weird how it kind of all, fell into place. It stinks that how it happened. I'm still in pain all the time, but, I mean, all the people that I'm helping, it feels like it's worth it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really, really great. And, because it is a very, very rare condition. I think it's 1 in 200,000. That's wild. That is really wild. And since I met you, and I'd never heard the term before, and I'm from a medical family, but since then I know I've met someone else who knows someone with it. So it's nice to be able to help people.
Yeah, and I've only met actually 3 people face to face who had Kyary or have Kyary.
And didn't you started a Facebook page for Kyary Athletes,
Oh,
right?
yeah. It's literally Kyary Athletes on Facebook. So it's just to stick with, the discussion about how athletics helped us through the
adversity or challenges.
Through the diagnosis and the surgery. That was the biggest thing. So we just started it like 2 weeks ago.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And do you have other members already, especially since it's such a rare disease?
I think we have
condition?
15 people, 17. Yeah, for the
That's
first
really
week
good.
or two.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not a huge number, but
still, for a very rare condition.
Yeah.
That's great.
Definitely.
And what's the best way that people can get a hold of you if they want to, can you order Limitless Medical Logs on the website? I mean, I know you can because I did it, but or if they want to reach out to you for speaking or something like that?
Through the website would be the best for the speaking, and also through the logs. The log is $19.99, limitlessmedicallogs.com, and you just go and order this. The app will be free, and what you can do is you download it on the iTunes store. You can just download it. It's free. The premium is $4.99, where you can add the caregiver and share between the community of doctors. So, and then my social media is Jordan Ray 25 for Instagram and Twitter, and for the company, Facebook and Instagram is Limitless Medical Logs, and then my YouTube channel, Jordan Ray.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Jordan. We so appreciate you being here with us today and sharing your story and sharing your product. And you're really such an inspiration, you know, not only to us, but a lot of others. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much for supporting How Foundation
course.
and the Brain Health Week Speaker Series.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.